And let's go ahead and get right into it. So we're in chapter 11. We're using our Logos Bible study software here. It says, a false balance is an abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight. When pride comes, then comes his grace, but with the humble is wisdom. The integrity of the upright guides them, but the crookedness of the treacherous destroys them. And, just kind of stopping here at the first three. A false balance is an abomination to the Lord, right? This is basically talking about someone who is tipping the scales of justice. It could be, the picture of a false balance is, in the old days, if you had a scale, right? You have two sides of a scale, and but one has like kind of a false weight to it, right? So whatever you're weighing, gold or coins, whatever you're weighing, and you're fooling that scale, right? And so you're not giving that person what they really do. You're not giving them what they're owed. And the same picture that is used for that is, obviously could be cheating somebody, right? This could be, again, not paying somebody what they're owed on a transaction, but it also has to do with justice. False balance could be, could even go into false evidence. Someone's really not getting what they from the justice system, what they deserve, and so it also comes into that. And really, the integrity of the upright guides them, right? Integrity is so important. Integrity really is all you have. It's your character. It's who you are. It's how you do what you do. And the crookedness of treacherous, what is treacherous? It's a traitor, someone who betrays, right? People that betray others. That eventually is going to catch up with them. It seems that those who do that, they seem in the short term to profit, but eventually they are going to get theirs. You will reap what you sow, right? There's something called the Law Reciprocity in the Bible. And so you cannot just live that way without expecting that you're going to get your reward, and that's in a negative way. If we go down here to verse 4, it says, riches do not profit in the day of wrath, but righteousness delivers from death. The righteousness of the blameless keeps his way straight, but the wicked falls by his own wickedness. The righteousness of the upright delivers them, but the treacherous are taken captive by their lust. Again, that word treachery is used. Those who are only out for themselves, they'll betray anybody. Family doesn't matter. They'll sell anything, betray anybody to get what they want, and they can lie to themselves all they want, but in the end, what really matters is, are you following God? If you think you're going to get something over on this world, you think you're going to get something over on somebody. And that's the hope in here. And because often when we try to live a righteous life, sometimes we feel like we're not really rewarded. We can look at the things that are happening in our life and say, look at all these people getting away with this stuff. Just look at politics right now and look at what they're doing. They raided former president's house, something that has never been done in our history. And the politics has gotten so bad, so wicked, so evil. Not that we shouldn't be involved. We have to thwart evil, but it's gotten so bad. But don't lose hope, because the way of the wicked, it's going to be exposed who's really in the way of the wicked, and they fall by their own wickedness. So they set a trap, right? And I see them trying to do this, and regardless of what you think and how you voted, I have never ever seen a president be accused so many times, have gone through so many things. It is unbelievable. It's pretty amazing. And it's not just about him. It's about anybody really today that is holds a different system of values than those that are in power right now. And so for those of us that are Christians, take heart. Those that are trying to live in integrity, take heart. Know that God is in charge, that he is the one. He's going to make sure everything is righted, everything is corrected. But this is the world we live in. People seem to be getting away with things. So pray, vote, do the best that you can. So moving on, he says what in verse 7, when the wicked dies, his hopes will perish, and the expectation of wealth perishes too, right? I mean, the righteous is delivered from trouble, and the wicked walks into it instead. Isn't that so true? I mean, those who think that, they're winning on the winning side, those who think that they're getting one over on God, or, one over on the church, or whatever their bone is to pick with us, look at this. Look at what happens. When the wicked dies, his hope perishes. In other words, yeah, he might be living, the wicked person might be seemingly rewarded in this life, but they don't have eternity with God. And we have eternity with God, and we get to keep our eyes focused on that. So whenever you get discouraged, think about that. With his mouth, the godless man would destroy his neighbor, but by knowledge the righteous are delivered. And where do you get knowledge? Right here in the Word of God. Continue to study his Word, continue in prayer, gain knowledge, right? When it goes well with the righteous, the city rejoices. When the wicked perish, there are shouts of gladness. And of course, you don't want to, we never rejoice in the downfall of those who, are against us. We're not giddy. We shouldn't be rejoicing. It's always sad when people fall into sin, or when people choose to follow the path of evil and the path of righteousness. It's a terrible thing, and we shouldn't rejoice. But we should rejoice in the fact that, God is moving, and he could put his people into place. That's something to rejoice about. By the blessing of the upright, the city is exalted. By the mouth of the wicked, it is overthrown. Whoever belittles his neighbor lacks sense, but a man of understanding remains silent. Yeah. Sometimes there are times that we should just kind of remain silent, maybe not comment. Sometimes I wonder, with everything that's going on, if I'm really saying enough about what's going on. But I see a lot of other people have already made comments. And so sometimes I just feel like God is telling me, hey, just wait, focus on me. Sometimes I feel like I've just got to say something, but we've got to use some discernment. And whoever belittles his neighbor lacks sense. You don't want to, what is belittling? Putting down and making fun of. And we don't need to do that. Yes, we see a lot of things that are happening that people are doing that just make us shake our heads. That's true. It really is. But we're not really going to win over souls by belittling people and making fun of people. That's not going to glorify God. And so as much as we're dealing with our own internal sarcasm, maybe be careful about what you say, who you say it to. Again, the focus is really winning souls for the kingdom. Whoever goes about slandering reveals secrets, but he who is trustworthy in spirit keeps things covered. And it's not, again, you want to be someone that people can confide in, someone who can be trusted, to not just turn around and gossip And so that's a great thing. He who is trustworthy in spirit keeps the thing covered. And this is not like you're participating in deceit or anything, but hey, if somebody is struggling with some sin and they share it to you, and that's it. You're not, oh, you know what, keep so-and-so in prayer because they're going through this. Wow, if you don't have permission to share, then don't. Be that confidant. Be that person that can be trusted to pray for that person. But if you don't have permission to share, don't, right? Where there is no guidance, the people falls. But in the abundance of counselors, there is safety. Hey, man, there is nothing wrong with getting advice from people, especially if you get it from a lot of different people and people that you trust, people that serve God. And this is in any area, finances, jobs, making big moves, counseling for marriage, right? You got to be careful who you ask advice from, but when there's a lot of counselors and there's a lot of godly people telling you the same thing, it might be God confirming some things. Remember, God uses us in each other's lives to speak to one another. And so it's really important that we try to hear what the Spirit is saying to us through friends, through family. And again, to sort it out. Now, not everything that everybody tells you is going to be good advice, but you can kind of hear what the Spirit is saying to you as these messages begin to coalesce. As you listen to a number of people speaking to you about something, you'll see a theme begin to form, an idea of what God is trying to tell you. And so that's really good. To have an abundance of counselors. Whoever puts up security for a stranger will surely suffer harm. What's security for a stranger? That's kind of like backing up somebody's debt, right? Co-signing a loan. These kinds of things, if that person defaults on their loan, you're responsible for it. Proverbs has a lot to say about that. So be very careful about doing that, right? He who hates striking hands in pledge is secure. In other words, just be careful who you get into business with. Be careful who you lend your credit to or your good name to. Be very careful in that. That's what he's saying there. And then it just totally shifts gears. Verse 16, a gracious woman gets honor and a violent man gets riches. A man who is kind benefits himself, but a cruel man hurts himself. The wicked earns deceptive wages, but one who sows righteousness gets a sure reward, right? And so not just monetary, but the spiritual reward, doing things right, doing things with integrity. A man who is kind benefits himself, but a cruel man hurts himself, right? Having a bad attitude, being a cruel person, it just comes back on you. Anger and being volatile is not going to get you anywhere. Move down to here to verse 19. Whoever is steadfast in righteousness will live, but he who pursues evil will die. Those of crooked heart are an abomination to the Lord, but those of blameless ways are his delight. Be assured, an evil person will not go unpunished, but the offspring of the righteous will be delivered. Like a gold ring in a pig's snout is a beautiful woman without discretion. And wow, someone might be man might be very handsome, a woman might be very beautiful, but looks can be deceiving, right? And here is a woman, but person without discretion, no matter how good looking, how handsome they are, how attractive their personality is and whatnot, they don't have discretion, Ryan. The desire of the righteous ends only in good, the expectation of the wicked in wrath. One gives freely, yet grows all the richer. Another withholds what he should give and only suffers want. Yeah, you reap what you sow. If you are blessed by God, then you bless, right? You give out, you help others. God will again pour into you But if you're stingy, if you're holding onto things, you know, it has a way of just, wealth has a way of deteriorating. So be very careful, and that's a spiritual principle there. Whoever brings blessing will be enriched. The one who waters will himself be watered. Bless others, right? Be a blessing to other people. Always be giving out. Jesus said that, you know, talked about rivers of flowing water, right? And calls us a light, you know. There's so many positive images. Being watered, right? You water a plant, that plant grows. You know, when you water people, when you encourage people, when you speak good things into people's lives, they grow, they get encouraged, they get strengthened. That's an excellent thing. The people curse him who holds back grain, but a blessing is on the head of him who sells it. Whoever diligently seeks good seeks favor, but evil comes to him who searches for it. Whoever trusts in his riches will fall, but the righteous will flourish like a green leaf. Whoever troubles his own household will inherit the wind, and the fool will be servant to the wise of heart. Right? Again, this is kind of the same theme over and over again. Just, you know, bless other people. Don't be a curse to them. Don't be focused on yourself alone. Always be thinking about others. It's going to come back to you in a good way. The fruit of the righteous is a tree of life, and whoever captures souls is wise, right? The winning of souls. If the righteous is repaid, if the righteous, is repaid on earth, how much more the wicked and the sinner? And again, this is this law of reciprocity. Whatever you reap, therefore you shall, or whatever you sow, that therefore you shall reap. And this is, you want to sow goodness and reap goodness. You want to help others. And you're not doing that to receive. You just do that out of who you are because of Christ, because of what he's done for you. And it's just a much better way to live. It's a much better way. Otherwise, you know, you don't want to be spiritually bankrupt. You know, you can be rich, but spiritually bankrupt. You want to be spiritually rich. And that's kind of what the focus is here. Hopefully this is helpful to you guys today. I know that's a lot, but that's how the Proverbs are. So God